Are you trying to play a G chord or any other open chord and it sounds kind of like this? I might be able to help you. So first of all, you want to diagnose where the problem is. Get your chord, and I have a G chord right here, that more full G that involves all 4 fingers, and pluck through every single note so you can figure out where the problems actually are. So if I do that right now, got that first one ringing out. A string is not ringing out. D string is kind of ringing out. G is fine. That B string is fine. And that top E is not ringing out. So what's going on? Well, there's usually one of 2 reasons why your open chords aren't ringing out. The first reason is simply that you might not be pressing down hard enough. Now, if you're playing on an acoustic guitar, you might be surprised how hard you have to press down at the beginning to get things to ring out. On an electric guitar, it's a little easier, contrary to popular belief. But on an acoustic, you gotta press down, and this is where developing those calluses is just a necessity, and where guitar is a hard instrument to learn at the beginning. There's a bit of an uphill climb because this is not a natural motion. Your fingers aren't really meant to press down on strings, metal strings that are smaller than them, and have them dig into your fingers onto these little metal pieces right here. Now, unlike a keyboard where you have these nice, smooth buttons where you press down, they're bigger than your fingers. On the guitar, you have this really unnatural motion that requires your body to adjust to it. So it's going to hurt at the beginning to press down the way you need to press down, but try to press down just enough to get those notes to ring out. So I can solve some of these problems by pressing down. So that one was fine. This A string doesn't seem to be fixed by pressing down, so it's going to require a second solution. Just give me a moment. That one's still not really ringing out. The G string is fine. The B string's fine. This one, let me try pressing down harder on this high E string. There, that was a problem there. So that solved at least one of the string not ringing out. But there's still some problems here. What else could be going on? Well, the second, and I think a more common issue, is that your fingers are getting in the way of other fingers for them to ring out their notes, or they're getting in the way of an open string. So this A string right here, the issue here is not that I'm not pressing down hard enough, it's that my middle finger kind of gets in the way and blocks that note from being able to ring out. Similarly, the D string here is also, that's an open string, so it can't be that I'm not pressing down hard enough. It's the same thing here. My first finger, this one right here, is in the way of that string as well, blocking it from ringing out. So the way to avoid this, or to correct this, is to first of all make sure that you are not buckling your knuckles like this when you're fretting chords. This right here is a guarantee to mess up the chord, playing a different chord that way. So make sure they're arched, and you want to get as perpendicular as you can with the fretboard with your fingers. So you want to pull your hand up this way a little bit from underneath and just arch your hand a little bit more to give those strings just a little bit more clearance, and your fingers a little bit more horizontal, or rather just make them a little bit more perpendicular so they don't cross over one another like this. And immediately it fixes that problem, and I already fixed the problem with the D string right there. So those 2 things, make sure you're pressing down hard enough, and make sure that your fingers are arched, and that your whole hand is sufficiently arched this way. You don't want to be way over here, right? But you want to try to make yourself come up this way a little bit to get those to ring out. And once you get that position, once you are satisfied with, once every single string's ringing out, strum that several times to glue that hand position into your brain. One further point, don't be afraid to take your fingers off of a string and adjust them on the same string. Sometimes when people grab a string, they don't grab it in the middle of their fingertip. They grab it like right here instead of here, or even sometimes what's required, even sort of the other side of your fingertip. So here I'm kind of almost hanging off the fretboard a little bit here to get out of the way of that first finger. That's okay as well. Don't be afraid to just make these adjustments to get out of the way of open strings or other strings. All right, give it a try.